Hey, what is up everybody? Blades for here, and today for you guys in the video of freaking Persona 5X. Inside today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about how to build Riko, the new 4-star navigator. Now this character does it all, whether it comes down to defense down, attack buffs, and everything else of that nature. She's really freaking good, and I'm not gonna lie to you, she's definitely worth the pull and anything else that you really want to see with her. So we're going to be going over her best little sets, the teams that she want to run, weapons, and everything. You guys already know how this is going to work here, and so let's go ahead and get straight into it. All right, so taking a look at this character's passives and should you dupe, I'm already going to say it, and this is going to be a big old yes. Riko is actually crazy good when it does come down to her dupes, and in general with A0 she already works like a charm. With her A0 here, she's able to at least have 3 allies act a certain amount of times, and you will end up applying a stack or at least a debuff being called vulnerability. Pretty much what this does is on the highest enemy that it applies to, you will get a damage increase on that person going from 6%. Now if you do at least inflict weak, which is when you down them from at least breaking down their shield here, you will actually get 2 intel stacks, and these intel stacks can be further used in her kit, which can actually give them normal damage or more weak damage. If you do this and there is a weak additionally added here, you will reduce the time it takes to use this once again, and each weak shield value will then be reduced even more so. Now if you do have this on, there is a chance that you're able to also receive 1 additional intel, which can actually stack up to 8 intels just off A0. Now that we've went over at least the basic passive of her, she also has her A1. Her A1 is already busted because at the start of battle, she's able to apply the vulnerability stack, which is, or at least the vulnerability debuff, automatically. There's no need to attack 3 times or anything like that. No, she applies it automatically to the enemy with the highest knockdown count. So whoever has the highest shield, this will automatically go to them. And with this, she even goes further on this, meaning that mob who is actually going to be with that highest knockdown count is definitely not going to feel too great with the rest of her actual dupes, because she furtherly keeps stacking on this. So for her A3, she then uses or at least after using a move called Aroma Whisper, this will actually help her apply not one vulnerability stack, but another one here to an enemy with the highest knockdown count, furtherly allowing her to deal even more damage. This is what's going to make her really stand out in general, because when you have a unit that is utterly focusing on at least an enemy, that enemy, whoever has that highest defense stack, is immediately going to get shredded, seeing you're having all of these dupes and you're stacking these absolute vulnerability stacks on them. You're just going to be knocking down that shield even quicker and harder. Now with at least the 5th stack here, whenever she does unleash her highlight, she will immediately apply vulnerability to an enemy with the highest stack once again. So this is furtherly elaborating on her getting those win stacks later on, and also taking down that shield. It is not going to be pretty for whoever gets inflicted with this, and it just makes her an overall just absolute crazy person when it comes down to at least damaging with your DPSer. Her A6 then not only elaborates on her speed here, but it also goes with the Aroma Whisperer once again. Pretty much the more speed she has after 100 per every 15, she's able to then reduce the wind cooldown by 1, going up to an absolute 4 of at least 4 actions. This is good because it allows you to spam way more when it comes down to just any of your moves, and actually spam when it comes down to taking down the enemy. Her awarenesses in general, I would definitely like to say, are really good, and if you have the liberty to actually summon and go for this character and get those dupes, you want to get these as fast as possible. But now that we went over this, let's go ahead and go into the next thing, which is going to be the skill priority, and let's jump into it. All right, so taking a look at the skill priorities that we're going to be looking at for Riko here, this is one of the few characters that I'm trying to get all my materials up just to start building her, but holy boy, oh boy, after doing a lot of research from different people and actually gathering some information, I can tell you guys the exact things you want to go ahead and have on this character. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first things first, when it comes down to the upgrades that you're looking for, go ahead and go for the skill 3, which is going to be Aroma Whisperer. The main reasoning for this is because you're actually going to be utilizing this a lot in her kit, and especially if you have her awarenesses, she's really going to want to do this. This is going to be your main thing that is helping you with decreasing, or at least buffing your allies, while also decreasing the enemies here in general. You're getting yourself some increased damage overall based on the amount of at least intel stacks that you do have, and it also helps out with your overall speed. The more speed you have, the better the buffs are going to be here, whether it comes down to at least damage dealt percentage or other things of that nature. This is going to be the one that you really want to get up first, because it is going to lead kind of the ladder of how you're going to utilize her skills, because you do have to use at least your skill 1 or 2 in order to get to this skill 3 here, unless of course, you know, you already have dupes on it. But normally you're going to need to use your skill 1 or 2, because you do need some stacks first in order to utilize this. So this would be the one that you want to go ahead and upgrade the most, because it is the most important. Now for the next one that's important here, you want to go ahead and go for Art of Sky Glow. This one is really helpful in general, because you're able to reduce the enemy's defense in general, and if you do exceed 100 speed, you're also able to furtherly introduce the reducage of at least their maximum amount of defense, having at least a bottom of 4.9% to a top of 29.4% for 2 whole turns. This is a huge game plan changer, because it also applies vulnerability on the enemy, or at least whoever is the main target that you're looking at. So in general, this will help you not only build stacks, but also utterly decrease the enemy, allowing you to set up and deal some major damage. Going into the elite skill 2, which is Art of the Plum Blossom. This one's also really broken as well, because it increases all enemies damage taken by 10.5% for 2 whole turns, and that is at full max level. As you guys can see, at bottom level it's at 6.7, but once you do have this maxed out, it's 10.5% for 2 whole turns. And then this will also reduce the weakness shielder depending on their knockdown count as well, reducing the wind cooldown by 1. Pretty much once this does reach 0 here, you're able to use this skill once again, which is pretty darn good as well. But it's going to take you setting this up in general. So normally you're going to want to go for that skill 3, then head to the skill 1, and then the 2 being Art of Plum Blossom. All this is pretty darn good in general, so definitely do try to do it in this way. And of course, if you guys don't know exactly what does property boost or attribute boost, attribute boost does by now, of course it increases all ally stats by 15%, which is really good. But in general, now that is the actual skill priority being 3, 1, 2. Let's go ahead and get into her next thing, being her weapon options, because boy oh boy does she have a lot of those. Okay, so taking a look into her weapon options here, there are a few weapons she can definitely utilize, going at least from her regular 4-star being Moon in the Water, which does help out her attack boost here, but it also gives you a nice little attack power companion boost. But there are definitely things that are way better than this one here. You're going to want to use the 4-star, which is the Plum Blossom one here. This one you're able to actually really max out in general, and that's because it increases your speed. It also helps you out with at least those vulnerability stacks, while giving you those in at least 1 intel stack that is fixed chance on, and at least some attack, defense, and HP buffs. Now you could very well use the 5-star weapon, which is usable as well. The 5-star weapon will give you at least 15 through 30 if you max it out, that is. But 15 speed bases, and actually morally goes on the intel side, allowing you to stack more, meaning you can spam her moves more often. Though I would suggest utilizing this 4-star event weapon, because it's actually overall, in my opinion, way better for her kit, and you're also getting more stats out of it to then share with the rest of your team. That will be very helpful. But with her actual just weapon options in general, you could go with this 4-star, or at least this 4-star exclusive weapon, or the 5-star weapon. I would definitely say go with the 4-star exclusive, because it really does help you out a lot. But now if we went over her weapons amounts here, or different things you can use with the weapons, let's go ahead and get into her gear set. Now you see, normally I would have the gear set already on the character, but I've been trying to get up at least my fire set for you guys so we can actually do a different fire video here. So I haven't had time to really grind up her set, but there are 2 sets that she can run, one being at least this one right here being responsibilities, and the other one being wealth here. Now wealth is going to be this one at the very top. This one's mainly going to be very helpful for if you're making her into more of a like defender type of character. I mean, we would probably have a lot more of this if you guys have been actually going for chords. So all in all, this would probably be a good one to at least put on here, but I would mainly vouch and go for at least the one to the far left here. Now the main reasoning for this one is because you're actually able to really stack up on that navigator type of thing here, in which should be this one here. This increases her life value, and it also helps you out with giving you those buffs for your companions. This one I feel like for navigators is more of the better one in my opinion, though it is kind of iffy to see which one you really want to go for. Both sets are really nice, and they have a really good card that goes alongside of them here. So if you are going to go for wealth being the one that kind of crosses together, you would want to utilize the trust card, because the trust card helps you out a lot here. If we can go ahead and pull this up here, and I wonder if my thing is not going to let me. Yeah, it's probably not going to let me here, but you have yourself a damage boost, which is also really good in general. But if you go ahead and go for what is it called, the other card that we're looking at here, that would be, was it this one? I think it was this one, or one that looks somewhat similar. That one would morally go if you're trying to use it for a mono team for speed, and that would be the only time that you would utilize that. Now of course that is also going to be going with at least navigator type stuff, so you do have to kind of see what you want to mess around with too much, but it's all up to you at the end of the day. Now when it comes down to at least the main things that you want to use on this character, or at least the main stats that you want to go ahead and utilize on this character, when it comes down to the at least sun one, you already know that's always going to stay HP. For any of these, at least the moon, I would definitely suggest trying to get attack percentage, because she does need to give off those attack percentage stats to the allies in general. So having attack percentage here is absolutely amazing. Then going ahead and for the star, going with crit rate or crit damage would probably be the better choice. You could also use attack percent on this as well if you wanted to go ahead and just only say crit rate and crit damage are going to stay my substats, though I would not recommend it. Crit rate and crit damage are probably going to be the ones you want to go for when it comes down to the star. And then when it comes down to the planet, try to utilize speed, because at the end of the day, she does need a ton of speed when it comes down to her full kit. So surely do that a lot. Substat wise, get speed as your main priority. Speed. She has to be a speed demon in general for most of her kit. So speed, crit rate, crit damage, maybe attack percentage, and maybe damage bonus if you're feeling a little bit, you know, interesting there. You could very well use those, but your main ones are going to be speed, crit rate, and crit damage, with damage bonus and attack percentage being at least optional. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the next thing, which is going to go over her best team comps. So going over this character's best team comp, she quite literally can work on any team. And I'm not meaning that like figuratively or anything else. This is legitimately. Even with Yusuke, she can be somewhat used, though Yusuke, you would definitely want to go ahead and use Puppet because you're getting a shield out of it. She can be used in all different types of teams, and that's just because of her kit that she fits so well. She's literally the perfect just embodiment of either person that can be used on a defensive related team and she's helping them do more damage, be on the offensive related team and she's helping them do even more damage. You can toss her on anything and she would prosper. It's what really makes this character so stinking good here. And I feel like a lot of people are kind of lacking on that side of things here when it comes down to Riko. She quite literally is an all-purpose navigator. So once you do have her, utilize her to the best of your potential. But without further ado, I kept this part a little bit short because there was no real reason to like go crazy long on this. It's quite literally, and I'm not even gonna lie to you, she can fit on any team. You name it, Bowie, Joker, stinking Cord, and some random character can be like Mont or something. She could fit on that team because she helps it out, just dealing more damage and utterly helping out the utility of the entire team. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that like button beforehand and consider subscribing if you are new. We do daily Persona 5X videos. We're only going to do more from here with maybe some special guests. But till next time, everybody, peace out.